Welcome to this video, and in this video I am going to be sharing with you about the productivity pyramid, which is a really effective way to prioritize the tasks you have to do for the day and to actually make sure that the things you're doing on a daily basis are actually making you real progress and not just busy work, because there's a very big difference between the two. So to get started, let me just draw up the pyramid. I hope it is going to be easy to see for you. And the essence is that it is divided into 4 categories. The first one is things which give 0 to negative returns. So what I mean with this, and a couple of examples are, for example, eating junk food, watching Netflix, hanging out with people who have a negative influence over you. Those are primarily 0 or negative value tasks. Then on the layer on top of that, we have the tasks which are low dollar value. Now, these things basically represent that if you would give this task to, let's say, a virtual assistant, or you would outsource it to a contractor, it would be very low in terms of the hourly rate you would pay. So an example of this could be cold calling, because that is likely something which is only going to be worth about $4 to $10 per hour. Another example could be administrative stuff. So if you have to do administration, accounting, stuff like that is low dollar value. Then one layer on top of that, we have the high dollar value tasks. And this is basically the exact same as the low dollar value task, but obviously with a higher value. So something that if you would outsource would be worth a lot more in terms of the hourly rate. And you can think about stuff like consulting, coaching, helping clients solve problems. Those are typically things which are much higher in the scale. And lastly, the final tip of the pyramid, so to say the peak, is going to be high lifetime value tasks. And what this means, if you're not familiar with it, is that these tasks are going to be worth a lot in the future too. So let's say that today you perform this action. Let's say the task is X. If you do it today, that means that even in 1 year from now, 2 years from now, this task is still going to have benefit. That's kind of the premise with high lifetime value tasks. And the entire sort of trick of this is to actually position your schedule in such a way where you spend most of your attention on these tasks, more attention on these tasks, as little as possible on these, and no time on these. So you kind of want to have it like this, where you go here. You want to completely eliminate these ones and make sure that you spend most of your time and attention here. So this is kind of like the distribution, and then you move it down to all the way at the bottom where you spend as little time as possible. Now, let's say that you don't want to spend any time on certain tasks at all, which is the next step. Then what you would have to do is you would actually have to look, based on the tasks which I currently have, which of these is be able to eliminate it. So which task can actually be eliminated? Because if you don't have to actually do the task, then the best idea is to just remove it. So for example, let's say that you're working on your website and you're trying to fix a certain plugin or embedded form and you cannot figure it out. If you don't need to create that in the first place, then there's no need for you to spend any time on it. So whenever you can, try to eliminate the task. Second solution you can try is automate it. This is a very upcoming interesting thing with ChatGPT, obviously, because the more that ChatGPT develops, the more tasks are going to be able to be automated, and that's going to save you a lot of time, a lot of money. Because the thing is, and that's the third option, if you cannot automate a task, you would have to outsource it. And there's obviously a lot more potential for error when you give it to a human. So make sure that whenever you can, eliminate it, automate it, or outsource it. And if you can't do any of these 3, then you just want to do it yourself for the time being, because then you're probably the best person to do it. And I do want to add another question to this, which is, how do I know when I can actually outsource a task? Because that's the third thing which you should be aiming to do if you cannot eliminate it and if you cannot automate it? Well, the way in which you can know if you can actually outsource a task is by calculating your own hourly rate. So you would calculate exactly how much your time is worth. How you do that is really easy. You just divide the revenue that you make by the hours that you work. And then what you do is you compare this number to the value of the task. So let's say that cold calling is one of the tasks which you're looking to eliminate, automate, but you can't do those, so you have to outsource it. If your hourly rate is worth more than the value of the task, then you should be definitely aiming to outsource it, because then your time is worth more than the task, so it's not efficient for you to spend time on it. And I do want to give you a couple of examples about tasks right now. So I'm going to erase this and give you a couple of examples about tasks which I would prioritize. So one of the first things which I would put in the high lifetime value section is going to be creating content. This is by far one of the best ones. Secondly, also networking, because if you create content now, chances are that in a year from now, some people might still actually see it and benefit from it. Same with networking. If you start connecting with people now, maybe in a couple of months from now, someone will pick it up. Maybe it will turn into a really good friendship. That's going to happen with time. So these are really good for high lifetime value dollar tasks. High dollar value task could be something like coaching, because this is not going to be worth much over time unless you apply a network effect, but that's a topic for another video. Yeah, because coaching is usually something that's worth a lot per hour or is worth a lot on a monthly basis. So these are things which are high dollar value. Low dollar value will be something like cold calling, which I just mentioned, or something like doing research for content, because research doesn't always end up profiting you a lot directly. It might indirectly because it contributes to content, but it's not the same. And zero to negative value, obviously, like eating junk food, watching Netflix, hanging out with bad people, and all types of other stuff, which I probably won't have to tell you. So to make it practical for you, right now I want you to make a list of all of the tasks which are currently required for you to get closer to your goal. And how you know this is just by looking at the problems which you currently experience. So if you don't have any clients and you need to make money, then obviously one of the tasks is probably going to be make sales. And if you don't have meetings, so if you don't have like sales conversations, then your first job is going to be to actually get those meetings. In the case if you're growing a personal brand, it's probably going to be something with making content or networking. So because obviously you have to get followers, and in order to get followers, you have to get profile clicks, because people have to click on your profile. And in order to get profile clicks, you need to have impressions. So then your first job would be to get impressions. And how do you do that? Well, you do that by making content yourself, which is a high value task, or networking, which is also a high lifetime value task. So right now, go make a list of all of the tasks. And once you have done that, what you want to do is categorize each one into one of these 4 pillars. And if you're not sure in which category it belongs, just ask yourself, is this task still going to be worth something additionally in a couple of months from now, a couple of years from now? Secondly, ask yourself, if I would outsource this, how much would it be worth? Can it be easily replaced? Thirdly, can it be easily replaced is similar, because something like cold calling can be easily replaced. And finally, zero to negative value dollar tasks. Can the task be removed? Is it actually valuable? Is it actually contributing something to me? So that's basically how you use the productivity pyramid. I hope you have been able to understand it. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them by DMing me. And there's also an action step document below this video if you want to have an overview. And I will see you in the next video.